All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a huge question. How do the pros build these massive, complex web apps? Without them just collapsing into a total tangled mess of code? Well, the secret is this surprisingly simple idea, and trust me, it changes everything. I mean, just think about the apps you use every single day. Gmail, YouTube, anything with a ton of moving parts. How on earth do huge teams of developers all work on them at the same time, right? Because if it were just one giant file of code, oh man, trying to find a bug or add a new feature, it would be a complete nightmare. Impossible, really. So there's got to be a better way. And of course there is. The solution is to just completely flip how we think about building an app. Instead of trying to carve one massive, complicated sculpture, you think of it as a collection of individual, standardized pieces. You guessed it, just like a box of Lego blocks. Seriously, this one metaphor, it's the key to understanding pretty much all of modern web architecture. So what are these digital Lego blocks actually called? Well, in the world of Angular, which is what we're looking at today, they're called components. And they are, without a doubt, the absolute foundation of everything we're about to build. And a component is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a small, self-contained piece of your app's user interface. So think of like a search bar, or that user profile button in the corner, or a video player. Each one is its own little mini application. It's totally independent, and this is the crucial part, it's reusable. You build it once, you can pop it in anywhere you want. Okay, so every single one of these components breaks down into three simple parts. You've got the TypeScript file. That's the brain. It handles all the logic, all the data. Then you've got the HTML file, which is the face. That's what the user actually sees. And finally, the CSS file, the look. It's what makes it pretty, the colors, the layout. So brain, face, look. Super simple, but incredibly powerful. All right, that's enough theory. Let's see how this stuff actually works in practice, right? We're going to go from just talking about Lego blocks to actually creating and snapping together the main structure, the shell of a brand new app. And you know what? Creating these blocks is way easier than you might think. You just use a simple command line tool. You literally just type something like ng generate component header. Boom. You do that for each big piece you need, a header, a sidebar, a dashboard. And just like that, the tool spits out all the files you need for each new component. It's awesome. Okay, here's a really important point about modern Angular. These components, they're standalone. Think about it with our Lego analogy. Just because you built a cool little Lego turret doesn't mean it's suddenly part of your castle, right? You have to actually click it into place. It's the same here. You have to explicitly connect it. In the code, you're basically telling your main application, hey, I want to use this new block I just made. And making that connection? Super straightforward. In your main application's code, you just make a list of every component you want to use. It's kind of like taking inventory. You just import the header, the sidebar, the dashboard, and that's it. You've officially told your app which Lego blocks are on the table and ready to be used. And once we've placed our new components into the main template, this is what we get. Each one of those works messages is basically a little confirmation flag. It's a sign that one of our Lego blocks has been successfully created and snapped into place. And just like that, we have our basic structure. How cool is that? Okay, this is awesome progress. We've built a really clean, organized skeleton for our app. But right now, it's just that, a skeleton. It's static. It doesn't do anything. So the next big question is, how do we make it do something? How do we get data flowing? How do we make it respond when a user clicks a button? In other words, how do we bring this thing to life? Well, the answer is all about managing the flow of data. We need a way to build a bridge between the logic in our component's brain and the visuals in its face. We need to make this thing interactive. Now, in the old days, this could be a little clunky. You'd have a variable, and your app would have to run around constantly checking, hey, did this change? How about now? Did it change now? It worked, but man, was it inefficient. The modern way is so much more elegant. It uses a clever little thing called a signal. See, instead of constantly checking, a signal just broadcasts a notification when its value changes, and it only tells the exact parts of the app that actually need to know. No more wasted effort. So what is a signal? Think of it like a special little box or a wrapper that you put around a value. It could be any value, a number, some text, a simple true or false. And when the value inside that box changes, the signal automatically sends up a flare, notifying anything and everything that's watching it. This approach is so precise, and it makes the app incredibly fast and super efficient. Okay, let's see this in action. It'll make perfect sense once you see how it creates a really dynamic experience. We're going to use a signal for a super common task, showing and hiding a sidebar menu when you click a button. Step 1. In our application's brain, that TypeScript file, we create our signal. We'll just call it show sidebar, and we'll start it off with a value of true. That just means we want the sidebar to be visible right when the app first loads up. Okay, step 2. Over in the HTML, we make a button, and we use this special thing called event binding. See that click with the parentheses? That's our hook. It connects a user action, like a click, directly to our code. It's basically saying, hey, when someone clicks this button, I want you to run the toggle sidebar function. And here it is, the final piece of the puzzle, the magic. In our HTML, we wrap our entire sidebar component in this cool new @if block. This is Angular's modern control flow, and it's brilliant. It just reads the value directly from our signal. If show sidebar is true, boom, the sidebar shows up. If it's false, it's not just hidden, it's completely removed from the page. Super efficient. And believe it or not, that's it. With just those 3 simple steps, it works. Clicking that button now instantly toggles the sidebar on and off. You have just successfully connected what the user does to the state of your application, and you've done it in a clean, modern, and wicked fast way. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and just look at what we've really learned here. We've just covered the 2 most fundamental concepts for building any modern web app. First, how to give it a solid structure, and second, how to make that structure interactive. It really all boils down to these 2 core ideas. First, you've got components. Those are your Lego blocks. They give your app a clean, reusable structure. Then you've got signals. They give that structure fast, efficient interactivity. Structure and interactivity. That's the whole game. That's the foundation for everything. So, there you have it. That's the big idea. When you stop seeing an application as one giant tangled mess and you start seeing it as a collection of smart, reusable, Lego-like blocks, what becomes possible? Just imagine, what could you build with this new way of thinking?